Hey everyone, it's Michael O'Sullivan welcoming you to the very first Oil and Gas Tech Podcast TV special. Okay, we're not really on TV, but I don't know, we might be on your TV because we are on video and we are in this spectacular facility here that was recently built by our very good friends at Endress+Hauser. And I'm sitting here with arguably the most important person in the room today, which is Endress+Hauser's very own Mark Thomas, who knows infinitely more about this place than I do. So let's start with, tell us, what is this place that we're sitting in and what do you guys do here?
Thanks, Michael. Appreciate the introduction. And this is a perfect fit for the tech podcast because this is a process training unit, all featured around technology. So what we do here is we focus on instrumentation training and hands-on training, application training, and this entire campus really embodies the technology feel to our industry.
You said something in there. It reminded me of an email that I saw when we were planning this whole thing. Now I know what PTU stands for. So all those emails that said it was PTU, right? So it's
correct. PTU, Process Training Unit.
Process Training Unit. So you can't see from where we're sitting. You can't see the full splendor and grandeur of this place. But I think we're going to insert some video into the final version of this so people can see the whole thing. This is not your only one though, right? You have these around the country.
Yeah, correct. So we have 13 PTUs, process training units, in the United States. Here in Houston is our newest one. We've got our main headquarters up in Indianapolis, where we've got a large process training unit. Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Mobile, Alabama, Philadelphia, just to name a few.
It wasn't supposed to be a test. If you just see if you can name all 13. That's quite an investment. I mean, it shows that the company's making quite an investment in this training thing. Maybe that's a good spot to back up and say, who is Endress+Hauser? What does Endress+Hauser do? Tell us a little bit about the business that requires this amazing training.
Yeah, so Endress+Hauser, really at our core competence is an instrumentation company. So we manufacture sensors, transmitters from pressure, temperature, flow, level, analytical measurements, and deliver into various industries, including oil and gas, but food and beverage, water, wastewater, chemical industries. And we're a global organization headquartered out of Rheinach, Switzerland, and family-owned company still. So
wow.
Roughly 13,000 employees, and so probably one of the largest family-owned instrumentation companies in the world.
That is 13,000 people, family-owned. So is everybody part of the family?
I wish I was part of the family.
Do you go to the family picnics and stuff and get invited to the graduations and things like that?
It has a family feel. So being as large as we are, I don't know how it comes across through the culture. It's pretty amazing, but we do have a family feel to it. My family owns some family businesses, so I kind of know what that feels like. Sure. And it truly comes across from management all the way through the organization.
So that business, instruments, and all the things that you described, I imagine we can find that stuff in a lot of different places out there, right, in the industry in terms of different facilities and disciplines. What, how does all that lead to we need to create a, like a state-of-the-art training facility? No, we need 13 of them. What were people doing before you had these things? How were people? How did they know what they were supposed to do with all this stuff?
There's lots of different ways and avenues to be trained. There are YouTube videos. So
sure.
From the very basic introduction to how measurement technologies work, there's great YouTube videos. But the whole thought process behind building these types of facilities is the hands-on piece.
Sure.
So what you oftentimes miss through college or other training avenues is that hands-on, touching it, feeling the device, really understanding the nuts and bolts of what's happening within that instrument. What we tried to do here is, instead of a new employee going out into the field and first time ever seeing a pressure transmitter, is their first day on the job in a refinery, and something breaks down, they can come to a facility like this, have a basic,
where it's safe, presumably,
where
right?
it's safe.
You don't have to worry about blowing anybody up.
It's a controlled environment.
Like
yes, absolutely, controlled environment, and we can really look at all those problem issues that they may face in the field in a nice, comfortable, air-conditioned environment.
And it's a real, from what I understand, this is a real simulation, right? I mean, it's not an electronic simulation. Like, you have actual stuff like flowing through these things, so talk about that a little bit. How do you simulate these types of environments?
It's a closed loop, so we flow water through it mostly. We also have an air loop over here where we simulate gas measurements.
Right.
We also have where we can put hydrocarbons into the process. One of the neat things that we like to show customers and clients on flow meters is how when you're flowing a liquid, sometimes you could have gas entrainment in that pipeline.
Sure.
And we can inject air in there, and we can show how does liquid with a certain amount of gas, 10% gas, 20% gas, how does it actually affect the measurement of the device? And what are some things that you can do to improve that?
That's cool. I mean, you're right. It's much more than a YouTube video or even some sort of a digital VR simulation, right? You're actually putting your hands on the real stuff. What would be a common example? And wouldn't it be convenient if that common example happened to be right here, so in the camera shot? So so talk us through a concrete example.
It's a very natural conversation flow there, right to our separation example.
Okay, so separation. So I've heard of that. I mean, I haven't worked in a refinery, but I've heard of separation. So what is that all about?
This facility here in Houston was built really with our customers in this area in mind, and thinking about applications that they come across regularly and might want to get hands-on experience with. If you look at upstream, whether it's in the Permian Basin or offshore Gulf of Mexico, into refineries, even into midstream storage tanks, the one big application within oil and gas is separation. So we're always trying to separate liquids. We're also trying to separate gas. Within the liquids, we're trying to separate oil and water. And what we've come up with here is a way to simulate that separation application and showcase what the interface in that application may look like, showcase when you're having a process upset and your emulsion is getting too great, how it affects different types of level transmitters, how the separation process affects flow meters. So we really took that into thought and consideration when building this facility.
So, and there's also this building. I noticed we were walking around earlier, and it's not just this equipment area, but you've got some training rooms, right, and some others. Really cool. The whole building is really neat, and you've got. So it looks like you have sort of like this well-rounded kind of training capability here.
Yeah. So this is we consider this a campus on our campus here. We have our sales and marketing teams that support this region. We also have a calibration rig, so customers, clients can bring flow meters in that need to be calibrated on a quarterly, annual basis, up to 12-inch in size flow meters. We can calibrate right here in our laboratory. We also have an integration facility where we work with a partner called Vector Controls, and they do a lot of analyzer integrations, things like that. They also help do a lot of the trainings here as well. So it's called Vector University.
Cool. So let's so it's a fantastic place. It's fun just actually to walk around and look at everything. Let's shift gears a little bit, talk about strategically how maybe your customers might work this. I'm thinking about digital transformation, which we've been using this word for a long time now, but it's still very much front and center, and people are still grappling with digital transformation, and you don't have to look very far to find a McKinsey article or a Deloitte article that's talking about how well we're doing or not doing in terms of pursuing digital. Obviously, these things produce a lot of data. How does this this whole training plan and what you guys are doing with your customers, does that factor into their digital plans, and does it help them move those initiatives forward?
Well, so this facility you can answer that question a lot of different ways with this facility. So we have one of the ways to solve the skills gap that we're coming across in our industry through digitalization and automation. So what this facility, what Endress+Hauser provides to the market are transmitters and sensors that provide that data to improve automation, to improve safety, to improve processes. And then when you talk about the IIoT, industrial Internet of Things, and what our clients are trying to do with additional data from these devices. So these are, most of the customers in our world use 4 to 20 HART out of instrumentation or Modbus communications. And they have probably 90% of the data that can be provided from these devices are locked inside of them. So what we're able to show here is how to unlock more data and get more data, but actually useful so you can do something with it. So you can actually improve your process. So you can have a unmanned facility sometime down the road, where everything is running automated, and you're getting your data sent to the cloud, and you're able to do forecasting, predictive maintenance, things like that, just based off of the sensors and transmitters in the field.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, that's kind of where all the attention is right now, right? Is how to harness all of that data that's being generated in the actual operations, and then use it to drive optimization, better decision making, all of those kinds of things. The key is the actually being able to get the data, get it in the right format, get it to the right places, and have the right level of quality without a lot of junk, right?
Right. Yeah, that's absolutely right. So we can give our clients, thousands of pieces of data a minute, but what are you going to do with that?
Right.
A lot of it's going to set alarms off. It's going to send the control room folks, drive them crazy with overwhelming data. So what we really try to focus in on, and you can do it through training classes here, is what data is valuable to you, what data is valuable for this application in particular. So back to the separation application,
right?
We could only look at the data that you really need to see how that separator is performing or how that desalter is performing. So you don't need 100 process variables to do that. You may just need 5 or 6. And we work with our clients to make sure that those are the 5 or 6 that they need to improve process.
So that's part of the training, and part of the person who's working on the equipment can actually control. So they can configure things to produce.
Correct.
Okay, so that's interesting, because
Correct, yeah.
a lot in the past, a lot of times, you just get the data that you get from a lot of these devices that are out in the field, right? And then we have to do all kinds of sometimes we have to do exception-based calculations, like at the edge, so that you don't send a bunch of junk back to the cloud, where it gets to be expensive and all of that. So what you're saying is you can kind of head off all those problems by just configuring it to give you what you need in the first place.
Yeah, correct. And that's what I think this evolution of technology and digitalization, where a lot of clients are figuring that out now. This data has been in these devices for 10, 15 years.
Right.
But we're just getting to a point where, okay, wow, I didn't realize, I could get 5 or 6 variables from this one transmitter. I thought I could only just get pressure. So what we're learning, what we're experiencing, workshopping now is trying to pinpoint those exact variables per the application.
We're sitting here right at the start of 2021. There's a lot of anticipation in the industry right now. Everybody's looking back at 2020 and going, I hope it's better than that for us. And there's some signs out there that say we're pressing forward, we're moving in the right direction. There's a bunch of companies out there that are bringing really interesting, innovative solutions to the forefront. What are you, Endress+Hauser, what are you guys most excited about as you kind of look at 2021 and say, this is where we're going to really focus on helping our customers and just be sort of part of that whole greater good of moving the industry forward?
I don't even know what happened in 2020. Yeah, it was crazy.
It's probably best if you don't remember. That's right.
So, one thing we're hoping for in our industry is demand picking up for sure.
Sure.
We need in oil and gas, we need people getting back, living their lives, moving around, traveling. That'll help drive a lot of things. But as far as Endress+Hauser and our approach ending 2020 and our vision 2021 and into the future is very, very bullish. So we are investing heavily. Obviously, this is a $38 million facility here.
Wow.
In 2020 that we opened up, and we are also hiring a significant number of people. We had no layoffs throughout 2020.
That's fantastic.
It's one really great thing about working for a family-owned company, and we are full steam ahead investing into the U.S. and into more people to support our customers here locally. It's such a positive outlook from our angle, and we see signs of things coming back, bouncing back. We think later this year, the midstream markets, you're going to need more storage space as we start to drive up production again upstream.
Sure. Yeah.
We definitely see the gas market as an area where we want to grow and improve into LNG, NGLs, all of that. So
cool.
We're excited about 2021. And I
guess in retrospect, I asked kind of an obvious question. I said, well, what are you excited about in 2021? And you just told me that you just spent 13 times $38 million to build these facilities, which is, but that sort of positive outlook and that saying, I think it's great to see leaders in the industry like you guys that say we're investing, we're hiring, we see good things ahead. So that's really fantastic. I appreciate you letting us come in here and set this up, and also I appreciate the jacket. And so Katie, if you're watching this, I did wear the jacket like you wanted me to. It's a great jacket. This jacket is actually the giveaway for because Endress+Hauser also sponsors an OGGM podcast, the HSE podcast, and this is, I think if you listen to that podcast and you do the thing at the end, right? Like you can win one of these jackets that says OGGN on one side, Endress+Hauser on the other side.
There you go.
and I can tell you that if you're looking to stay warm in this jacket, that it works, especially if you're under the lights. This jacket will keep you warm very well. I also want to. This is a tech podcast episode, so I want to say a few more things here at the end. But Mark, thanks for the opportunity. Appreciate you inviting us over to your clubhouse and showing off your toys and things. If people want to learn more about, like, let's say I'm sitting out there and I go, wow, that's fantastic. I got to get me some of that or get some for my team. What do they do?
Yeah, I mean, the tech podcast is a perfect fit for what we're showcasing here. So if you're interested in technology, you can come out here. We start off with basic training, so basic instrumentation trainings, and we'll put a link on this podcast at the bottom of how you can put that
in the show notes.
How you can figure out when classes are. We have classes every week, so even those senior guys who want to do something more advanced, we go from basic to mid all the way to very advanced trainings here at this facility.
Fantastic. So you can actually you can sign up, you can get in, I mean, it helps if you're in Houston, but if you're in one of the other cities, then, you can do that as well, right?
Correct. Yeah, you can. Yeah. We've got 13 of these, like we mentioned, and I'm not going to name them all off.
No, that's okay. And I can say it's a great building. I did notice that your snack center does have the smokehouse almonds in there that are my favorite. So if you're light a few of those after I leave, that's why.
We'll tab you.
That's perfect. So that's going to wrap it up for today. Just a couple of more things. Of course, always I want to thank the Oil and Gas Tech podcast is sponsored by Cognite. So if you're not familiar with them, check them out. Also, I want to mention that you can connect with OGGN on LinkedIn and all the usual social things, and you can find out about all the other podcasts like the one, like the HSE podcast. And I think we're up to 11 or 12 or 13 something. You have 13 facilities. I think we have 13 podcasts. Check all those out. Also, I have to mention the OGGN Street Team, which is led by the valiant and noble Warren Spiewak. And apparently now yours truly also is doing something for the Street Team. So I'm looking forward to getting involved with that. As I always say, it's a great way to get involved with OGGN and just do something positive in the industry. And that will wrap it for today. One last thought, which is, I look around here and I see, like, this is the progression of literally a century of innovation. And sometimes, we in the oil and gas industry get teased a little bit like we're not up with the latest cool tech. But when you look at 100 years that has produced the kinds of innovations that we see here, it reminds me of that thing that I always like to say, which is that we were tech before tech was cool.